that's all we need love. Got this love that we share that nobody can take away. Undithanda ndinjena, tizokuthanda forever. Unibona ndityebile, uniphethe kahle udale. Unibona ndinxumile, uniphethe kahle. Unibona ndityebile, uniphethe kahle udale. Uniphethe kahle, uniphethe kahle.
Andisakwazi nokusibamba ndinquma kakhulu xa ndibona wena andale ndiyoyika ukuthetha nawe kodwa nomkhitha kanikithuba ndithethe nawe. Oh, ndiyacela mamela, ndiyacela mamela, ngawe ndiyasifela, ngawe ndiyasifela. Khawuleza sondela, khawuleza sondela, ndikuthanda okwempela. inhliziyo yam, thatha naluthando lolwakho, thatha nasi inhliziyo yam, suyiphathe njengeqanda, sithandwa ndithi nabo, ndiyasithandela apha kuwe, baby, ndithi ngabo, cela undive nanawo, ndikuthandile sithandwa sam, ngenhliziyo yami yonke, ndithi uthandwe ndinalo, soze luphele, ndikuthandile sithandwa sam, ngenhliziyo yami yonke, ndithi uthandwe ndinalo, soze luphele. Indlela ondithanda ngayo, kukho indlela ondibamba ngayo, baby, indlela ondijonga ngayo, baby, andigqiba, yeah, sithandwa ndithi ngabo, yeah, andiphathwa nazintloni, andifuna ukuba, ndifuna ukukuthanda ngase, ndikuthandile sithandwa sam, ngenhliziyo yami yonke, ndithi uthandwe ndinalo, soze luphele, ndikuthandile, oh, ndithi uthandwe, soze luphele. Kusathe kutshone ilanga, ndimane ndinyuka amathafa. Kusathe kutshone ilanga, ndimane ndinyuka izintaba, noma kunjani na, noma kunganetha, noma kunjani na, noma kungabanda, noma kunjani na, noma kunganetha, noma, 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 ndonikwa, zigama lakho, ndiniphesheya komlambo, ndonikwa, zigama lakho, ndimana ndikhula ingoma zothando, ndonikwa, zigama lakho, ndiniphesheya komlambo, ndonikwa, zigama lakho, ndimana ndikhula ingoma zothando. Kuzathe kutshone ilanga, ndimane ndinyuka amathafa. kusade kutshoni ilanga ndingana ndihamba indlela ename kusade kutshoni ilanga ndimana ndihamba indlela ename noma kunjani na noma kunganetha noma kunjani na noma kungabanda noma kunjani na noma kunganetha noma zikamala ndinipesheya komlapho ndolikwala zikamala ndimana ndikhula ingoma zothando ndolikwala zikamala ndinipesheya komlapho ndolikwala zikamala ndimana ndikhula ingoma zothando.
Kodwa bathuthandwa pheli xa uthanda umuntu asoze ajike. Promise me we wouldn't play no games. We were floating in the clouds, no pain. But it ain't the same when you look at me, honey. When you say my name, when you kiss my lips, buddy. When you hold my hand, look into my eyes, I don't see the spot anymore. Now, sister, now I'm looking funny. I must be crazy, crazy in your love. Now, sister, now I'm looking funny, baby, baby, oh. Watu yandithanda wathawusoze uyeke ndakunika lonke ixesha lam. This love we got just ain't the same. You lost the feeling, now I'm seeing flames. But it ain't the same when you look at me, honey. When you say my name, when you kiss my lips, buddy. When you hold my hand, look into my eyes, I don't see the spot anymore. Now, sister, now I'm looking funny. I must be crazy, crazy in your love. Now, sister, now I'm looking funny, baby, baby, oh. Awuphenduli when I call your name. Why kumele feel this way? Uthanda fanelanga lube buhlungu this way. Why undenza feel this way? Awuphenduli when I call your name. Oh, why kumele feel this way? Uthanda fanelanga lube buhlungu this way. Baby, why undenza feel this way? Now, sister, now I'm looking funny. I must be crazy, crazy in your love.
ndandane maungekho eduze kwami impilo ayifani maungekho na sengifana nentandane maungekho eduze kwami impilo ayifani maungekho na ngiyazibuza kwenze njani na impilo ayifani maungekho na ngiyazibuza kwenze njani na impilo ayifani maungekho na ngihambile futhi ngibonile ngithandile futhi ngithandiwe kodwa ngikaze ngithande kanjena ngihambile futhi ngibonile ngithandile futhi ngithandiwe kodwa ngikaze ngifile kanjena sengifana nentandane maungekho eduze kwami impilo ayifani maungekho na sengifana nentandane maungekho eduze kwami impilo ayifani maungekho na ngiyazibuza kwenze njani na impilo ayifani maungekho na ngiyazibuza kwenze njani na impilo ayifani maungekho na ngibonile futhi ngizwile bekubiza ngamagama kodwa kimi kuyafana ngiyazibuza sekwenze njani na impilo ayifani maungekho na awu impilo ayifani maungekho na sengifana nentandane maungekho eduze kwami impilo ayifani maungekho na sengifana nentandane maungekho eduze kwami impilo ayifani maungekho na ngiyazibuza kwenze njani na impilo ayifani maungekho na ngiyazibuza kwenze njani na impilo ayifani maungekho na
that guy.
Good morning. Good morning. Much better. The Chief Air Force has given me the permission to continue. Thank you, Chief. On behalf of the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, General Ruzani Mapanya, I would like to officially start the proceeding of the day. Before we continue, I think it's proper to introduce myself. I'm Brigadier General Andries Mukwena Mahapa, Director, Defense Corporate Communication. I'm going to share these proceedings with a capable Major Mfeka, who will be assisting us through the proceedings. I would also like to start by inviting the chaplain from the Army Support Base in Mpumalanga, Chaplain N. Inkosi, to open the proceedings with a prayer. Chaplain, please.
May we read the word of the Lord from the book of Psalm 141, verse 8. But I kept trusting to you, my sovereign Lord, for your protection as we begin our faith unto God, for his love, protection, as Armed Forces Day is on its toes, for God to take a lead. May we pray. Our eyes fixed unto you, Heavenly Father, we rely unto you. Lead us, Father. Amen.
Thank you very much, Chaplain Nkosi. We truly appreciate for you to call the powers that be to be with us this morning. Probably before we continue, let me just welcome all the media houses present. We are really, truly honored that you took time to be with us today. We really appreciate you being here this morning. I would also like to take the floor in terms of inviting the Councillor, M.I. Maseko, Acting Mayor of the City of Mbombela, and then extend after the Acting Mayor to the Office of the Premier of Mpumalanga, who is Mr. Nyoni. Please, can we have Mr. Maseko to come forward, please?
Thank you, Program Director. Greetings
to the leadership of Defence Force, greetings to media, and all protocol observed. On behalf of the city of Mbombela and the provincial of Mpumalanga, we welcome the department and all forces of our province. We pride ourselves as the ultimate destination so that we have come to the right place. The added number of visitors mean an economic injection, especially to the hospitality sector. We are ready to host you and looking forward to an incident-free event. Please spend all your money here. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Director of the program. My special greetings to the senior leadership of the Defence Force, our colleagues from various media houses, my colleague from the Office of the Premier, the Deputy Director General, Mr. Nyoni, as well as the leadership from the municipality. Without any waste of time, we take this opportunity to pledge our undivided support to your good self-leadership, especially as you look forward to the big event that will be taking place on Monday. And with that being said, we also want to just echo the sentiments on behalf of the Director General, Mr. Mampuru, as well as our Honorable Premier of the Province, Ms. Tsipane, who could not be with us today. She delegated the DG, and the DG delegated us to be here. Of importance is the role that is played by the various forces within the army, which we appreciate, as we understand that Mpumalanga is bordering two countries, that's Mozambique, as well as Swaziland. We know very well the role that we are playing, but what's keeping us awake as a province are the numbers of crimes that are taking place in the border, and as far as Libombo is concerned, to be specific. We're really concerned about the vehicles that are taken from this side to the other side of Mozambique, the transportation of illicit goods and all that. And not so long ago, we had our JCPS meeting, and in that meeting, we've agreed that probably at a MINMEC level, as you are aware, that issues of borders are a national competence. It's not our competence as a province. But what can assist us perhaps is to ensure that the border gates are open for 24 hours. It's something that we're going to elevate to MINMEC. And if MINMEC agrees, we hope that we might get support from the cabinet, to ensure that our borders, are safe, 24 hours. And I must commend you, leadership, for the role that you are playing. We know very well that you are always there in ensuring that you protect not only our citizens, but even those who reside on our neighboring countries, that's Swaziland and Mozambique. With that being said, we want to take this opportunity and wish you all the best as you plan for the big event. And on behalf of the Honorable Premier, Mage Tsipane, we want to assure you that you've got our undivided support. We'll be with you throughout, and indeed, enjoy the beauty of our province, and have a very, blessed and a very, joyous or joyful rather stay while you're in our province. Welcome to the province of a rising sun. Thank you very much.
Good morning from myself. As we get on with the business of the day, allow me to introduce our respective panelists. I would like to begin with the main executor of Armed Forces Day 2022, Lieutenant General W.S. Mbambo, who is the Chief of the South African Air Force. Then I would like to take note of the Chief of the SA Army, Lieutenant General L.K. Mbata. the Chief of the SA Navy, Rear Admiral J.G. Hokoma. Further on behalf of the Chief SA Medical Health Services, Brigadier General Dr. L.C. Fosa. And then on behalf of the Chief Human Resource Management, Major General N.E. Mkhize. Director, Corporate Communications in the SANDF, Brigadier General A. Mahapa. The main coordinator of Armed Forces Day 2022 and Officer Commanding of the Air Force Command Post, Brigadier General R. King. Officer Commanding of the Army Support Base Mpumalanga, Lieutenant Colonel G.C.F. Van Heerden. And on behalf of the Premier Mpumalanga Province, Mr. P. Nyoni and Mr. G.S. Ntombela. On behalf of the Ehlanzini, Ehlanzini District Municipality, Councillor T. Mabuza, and on behalf of Mbombela Local Municipality, MMC M. Maseko. On behalf of the Government Communication and Information Systems, Ms. Poppy Maluka. Members of the media, we acknowledge and thank you for your presence at the official opening of the Armed Forces Day 2022 program. I am Major M. Vega from 85 Combat Flying School, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies during the proceedings. I would like to cover the sequence of events for our very short program. We will begin with the story of the SS Mendi, followed by the main address from the Chief Executive of Armed Forces Day 2022, and end off with a question and answer session for the panelists. The closing address will then be delivered by the District Councillor, Councillor Tiny Mabuza, who is the acting Mayor of Ehlanzeni, and the duration of the program is estimated to take no longer than an hour of your time. And just to orientate you, I will cover a few domestic arrangements. We are observing the COVID-19 protocol. The smoking is to take place outside. It is strictly prohibited in the building. And in case of the emergency, members are requested to calmly vacate the building and to follow the markings to the designated assembly points. Ablution facilities are available outside of the venue towards the swimming pool or area. And in order to minimize signal interference, I would just like to make sure that all of you please turn off your cell phones. And at the end of the proceedings, the refreshments will be served. At this juncture, I would like to call on Brigadier General R. King to share the story of the SS Mendi, which is one of the reasons why the SANDF commemorates Armed Forces Day annually on 21 February. Brigadier General.
Lieutenant General Mbombo, Lieutenant Generals, distinguished guests, I'll keep it short, all protocols observed. We've heard so much about the SS Mendi. The annual commemoration of the SS Mendi tragedy pays homage to the 616 South African soldiers and 30 British crew members who died aboard the military steamship, the SS Mendi, on the 21st of February, 1917. The SS Mendi sank in the English Channel when it was struck by a much larger ship, the cargo ship, the SS Dara, and the vessel took on water and eventually sank. The South African men were members of the 5th Battalion of the South African Native Labour Contingent, and these men were en route to France to support the war effort in that area at that time. Those 616 South African souls that were lost aboard the ship that day perished in support of a military effort. The commemoration of the tragedy of the SS Mendi has permeated through South African culture. It has contributed to our understanding of our history, our heritage, and our identity as South Africans. During Armed Forces Day, the SANDF honors the memory of the fallen soldiers and their sacrifice in various ways in order to ensure that their legacy is not forgotten. I thank you, sir.
I would like to call Lieutenant General W.S. Mbambo to deliver the main address.
Firstly, let me apologize for the late start. Supposed to have started at 11, but we are 30 minutes to the right. Apologies for that. Let me begin. The representative of the Chief of the South African Army, present, Colonel Mosiane, the Chief of the South African Navy, Vice Admiral M.S. Hlongwane, representative of Surgeon General of the South African Military Health Services, Brigadier General Dr. Fosa, the representatives of the Chief Defense Intelligence, Major General Gina, the Chief of Logistics, Lieutenant General J.S. Mbuli, representative of the Chief of Human Resources, Major General M. Mkhize, Director, Corporate Communications in the SANDF, Brigadier General Mahapa, the main coordinator for Armed Forces Day 2022, Brigadier General King, Officer Commanding Army Support Base Mpumalanga, Lieutenant Colonel Van Heerden, the representative of the Premier of Mpumalanga Province, Mr. P. Nyoni, representative of the Ehlanzeni District Municipality, the Councillor Mabuza, the representative of Mbombela Local Municipality, MMC, Maseko, Ms. Poppy Maluka, the Deputy Director of Communications at the Government Communication and Information System. A very good morning to all of you. A very good morning to all of you. Sounds better, sounds better. We have come together today here in Mbombela, Mpumalanga Province, for the latest edition of the annual South African National Defence Force Armed Forces Day 2022. The event had to be deferred by a year due to the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. We were not able to fill the streets of Mpumalanga and effectively bring the SANDF to the people. We had to wait till the numbers of infections had significantly dropped, and we had to allow for the vaccination drive to be in full effect in order to be satisfied that we are capable of bringing this event to Mpumalanga in a safe manner. So here we are. The Armed Forces Day and the events that leads up to it is about honoring and remembrance on this day of men and women in uniform who have laid down their lives in service of this great nation, starting with the brave men who volunteered their lives in support of the South African Defence Force during the World War I, on the SS Mendi, who lost their lives on the 21st of February 1917. Their first task was to provide the logistical support on the French docks before moving inland to support the troops. They, however, didn't make it. Throughout history, many have laid down their lives in service of their country and the people's higher ideals. In the long walk to freedom, Nelson Mandela implores that death is something inevitable. When a man has done what considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. The democratic South Africa we now have attained did not come without a cost. Many lost their lives in the fight for the freedom. It can be said that there are four basic and primary elements that the mass of the people in a society wish for. Firstly, liberation of humans is a basic right. As South Africans, we cannot be satisfied with the attainment of only our own freedom. It remains our duty to aid and empower our fellow Africans in the pursuit of an Africa of good governance and democracy that respects human rights, justice, and the rule of law. The celebration of Armed Forces Day affords the country an opportunity to honor the men and women who have committed their lives to being of service to the country. The Commander-in-Chief is the main functionary during the Armed Forces Day. He will be expected to lay a wreath at the World War Memorial in Barberton and address the armed forces during the parade on Monday, the 21st of February 2022. The Armed Forces Day is not a one-day event. However, we launched this event with a media engagement in order to communicate the planned celebrations, which include an interfaith service on Sunday, the 20th of February 2022, to be held at Mbombela Stadium, amongst other community engagements. The financial constraints that are reflected by the persistent budget cuts experienced by the Department of Defense are well documented and known. However, what is not discussed is in much detail is the corresponding loss in capabilities, its negative impact on the Defense Force to carry out its mandate. The emerging security threats of other government departments, the SANDF has committed assets to a number of internal operations to support the government. The various challenges of underfunding and the situation within DENEL are being dealt with at the executive level and at Parliament. The Department of Defense believes that the current situation requires adequate and immediate attention to ensure alternative solutions are found. The Department of Defense also believes that awareness of these challenges must be done in a responsible manner by all the respective stakeholders. Today we are here to celebrate and showcase the SANDF abilities in the defense of our country, although on a limited scale due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are here in this province to again reiterate that the SANDF belongs to the people of South Africa. And Mpumalanga province is not excluded. We are here to reassure the province and the rest of South Africa that the SANDF still remains focused on its constitutional mandate. In the execution of this mandate, the country's support to the SANDF will forever remain indispensable. I thank you.
Hello. Yeah. Good day, everyone. My name is Mandla Khoza from the Sowetan newspaper. Just to check, you are speaking about budgetary constraints and also the issue of COVID-19. If the stats is available, how many members of the SANDF have lost their lives during COVID-19 up to date? The second one will be the issue of budgetary constraints. The country has got threats now and again. With the budgetary constraints, how are you able to protect us in the country? Talking of the budgetary constraint, because we believe the SANDF have got many wings which can also assist in service delivery in the country with the expertise that you give. Do you think it's fair to have no money to execute your duties? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just like to confirm, to whom would you be directing the question to? To the Chief Air Force, the whole panel. Right, we will continue. I will allow for 2 more questions, and then the panelists will answer after the questions have been taken. Another question, thank you.
Thank you. Just to clear the air, maybe an additional one question. I believe the panel knows who's responsible for what. So when I'm asking, it's not a matter of me directing to one person. The panel maybe will assist each other. But there's been rumors from political parties that the SANDF is working in saving interests of businesses, especially outside the country, during missions. Is that true?
Thank you, sir.
Talking on the recent Mozambican one.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions? Yes? There's a gentleman in the center.
Tumelo from SABC. We also want to know more about also the budgetary constraint that you guys had and the impact that it had on your work, and also if you can also talk to us about what can people expect, especially those who are coming to see. You say that it's going to be on a smaller scale in terms of equipment that people can see and the machineries that people can be able to see, and all those equipment that people can come and see, and the public allowed to come and also watch all those activities that are going to be happening at Mbombela.
Thank you. I'd like to invite the panelists to answer the questions that have been brought to the floor.
Thank you for the questions that have been fielded. Just maybe before we begin with the questions, we are basically here for the Armed Forces Day celebrations and everything that's to do with the Armed Forces Day. I know that there is an interest in the Defence Force on many areas, I would like also to say that there will be an opportunity, I believe, in the future where the issues that relate to the defense in detail will be attended to at an appropriate time and venue, so that all those who are interested can have the time actually to engage the leadership of the defense. That is just an opening. We will address the questions that have been fielded in terms of the issues that have been asked now. Some of the questions I will take and others I will actually distribute to the panel around me. Firstly, there was a question related to the COVID-19 stats and things like that. The representative from Sergeant General, the SAMS, maybe will be in a position to comment on that. And then there was a question on the budgetary constraints and also the impact on the defense of South Africa. And then there was a question also on the Defence Force going outside to support private businesses. And also the other question was the budget and its impact and also the equipment that will be displayed during the Armed Forces Day. I would like the representative from the Army to take the one in terms of the equipment that will be displayed internally here during the Armed Forces Day. Sea Navy, I would like to give him the question that has got to do with the defense being deployed outside and for the interest of private businesses. I would like Sea Navy to tackle that one. And then I will take the one on the budgetary constraints and its impact in defending South Africa. We all know that the budget of defense has been undergoing a lot of constraints for some time. And obviously there is impact in terms of how we continue to do our business. I must say that one of the trainings in the field of military training, management, and also defending. One of the training that we have is to have alternatives if there are constraints. So in the ongoing budget cuts, the Defence Force is embarking on various options and measures in terms of how do we operate within this situation of budgetary constraints. So there is a variety of options that are there, which of course I cannot discuss them here, but these are the things that we continuously do in our field of expertise, be it in the Army, in the Air Force, Navy, and so on and so forth. You have your own various options that you develop and that you come up with, so as to ensure that if there is a requirement to defend the country, this is what you will do within those particular constraints. So this is what I would like to say, and this is not unique to South Africa. There are many other also armed forces and defense forces that are undergoing different budgetary constraints. but they also do have their own ways of navigating through those constraints to make sure that their mandate, they continue to actually execute it. This is what, in short, I can say in terms of the budgetary constraints and what is it that we are doing as the defense. We are also very hopeful that going forward, there's going to be some alternative solutions in terms of maybe the budget and so on and so forth, so that the situation can be better managed going forward. I submit. I would like maybe to allow the representative from the Sergeant General to maybe answer the question that has got to do with the COVID-19 issues.
Thank you, sir. With regard to the question, how many members were affected by COVID-19 of the military? The Defence Force is part of the community, part of the population of South Africa. So in the same percentage of the population that was affected within the military is this, reflects to the population that was the country-wise. But it's good to say majority of our members are currently vaccinated, and the Defence Force is strict with OHS compliance with regard to COVID-19 regulations. Therefore, the impact of COVID within the SANDF was minimized in that regard. And therefore, our members are very well protected. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks. Can I move to Admiral Hlongame?
That happened as such. It's not only South Africa which is deployed in Mozambique. Almost all South 5 class vessel was hijacked by pirates, and as a result of that, Operation Copper was developed, and it took over to patrol the Mozambican channel. I thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chief Navy. I would like to ask Colonel Mosiane just to share in terms of the equipment that is to be displayed during this Armed Forces Day. So.
Once again, thanks, Chief of the Air Force. In brief, this is the most, we regard as the South African National Defence Force, we regard this event as the most prestigious occasion that happens annually, now taking place in Mbombela, Mpumalanga. Let me take you through the ceremonial part, which is going to lead us to what equipments are going to be used in this regard. First of all, the ceremonial elements consist of elements from the South African Army, the South African Air Force, the South African Navy, and South African Military Health Services. Now, let's get to the sequence of events, which is going to make it more clear what equipment and personnel will be on the ground on the 21st of February 2022, the main the day of the event. First of all, with regard to that, during the march, from the starting point through a designated route, the following is going to happen. The first grouping that will appear will be the flag company, which will be followed by the National Ceremonial Guard. Then immediately after that, there's going to be a march by columns, consisting of elements from the Army at the company level, elements from the South African Air Force, also with the same strength, elements from the South African Navy, elements from the South African Military Health Services. Immediately after the marching of columns, that's when you are now going to witness the marching of columns by the mechanized forces, that is vehicles, starting with the commander who will be in charge in that, from that stage throughout, and then as soon as they part on the Army side with regard to mechanized forces or elements, that will be followed also by the Air Force display in the...
No, thanks. I think those were the questions that we attended to. I just want to assure everybody, especially the question around the Defense Force executing missions for private businesses and so on and so forth. I want to assure you that the employment of the Defense Force, whether inside the country or outside, is a law-regulated activity. It's a law-regulated activity. If the Defense Force is employed inside the country, there is certain protocols that are followed. It is regulated by law. When the Defense Force gets employed outside, it is regulated by law. So there is no way that the Defense Force can actually be outside this country without actually following due processes and regulated by law. So that is a very strictly regulated activity. So on that one, you can be rest assured we follow the regulations accordingly. I think we have addressed all the questions.
Thank you, General. Those were very strong words from the main executor of the Armed Forces Day 2022. And thank you to the media for participating and for submitting your questions. There seems to be an impromptu question. General, will you allow another question, sir?
Okay, let them ask.
Okay.
No, thanks very much. My name is Mutsibu Amanarim from the SABC. You are citing issue of budgetary constraints, but you haven't tell us how much are you going to spend for this event. Because, I mean, it's important for us to know you are spending the public funds. Let's know how much is budgeted for this whole event from today up until tomorrow. We'll be having something on Sunday, Monday, and then the main event. How much is going to be spent? Thank you.
All right, the floor is now closed for questions.
All right, I'm gonna allow the planners on the ground to try and actually give the estimate figure in terms of how much so far is gonna be spent for this Armed Forces Day. But whilst they are going to answer that question specifically, I want to say the following, that it's important also to look at this activity in context. In context in the sense that wherever this footprint comes into each province, there is a lot of economic activity that actually comes around it in the form of accommodation, the hotel industry, and also in as far as the very simple people who come and sell some things where there is this activity going around. So much as we look at the expenditure from the defense side, I think it will be important when we attend to that question not to lose sight of the broader income to the province, and specifically within the locality of Mbombela, for ordinary people who are actually will not have had an opportunity if this activity was not happening here. So that is also just the broader context of it. So I would maybe ask the planners on the ground to share with us in terms of the estimated figures for now, if you may. General King.
Thank you, General. So for fear of creating an unreasonable perception, I do not have a fixed figure at this point in time in terms of the overall budget. It must be remembered that Armed Forces Day is a part of a celebration, so it's an annual event, the parade itself, that contributes to the program of the South African National Defence Force in terms of commemorating the armed forces. So the cost involved in that obviously is in terms of a budget for parades, etc. In terms of, as the Chief of the Air Force has mentioned, the stimulus to the economy, the focus in terms of expenditure wherever the armed forces parade is held, and specifically in this event, is to contribute to the economy of the local environment. So in terms of our purchases and our expenditure, those that we didn't, obviously we bring our own equipment from home, but when we're purchasing rations, other equipment that's necessary in this environment, then obviously that money is then spent into the local economy. The focus was not to import food from Gauteng or one of the other provinces, but to rather focus on uplifting
the situation where we are in at the moment. The Armed Forces Day is not complete yet. It's still ongoing. There are still units that are coming and so on and so forth. Once all the business is done, just like all other armed forces, there is a feedback report through our proper distinct channels in terms of the total expenditure for this particular activity, which then gets channeled through the relevant structures of the Defence Force, and ultimately it gets accounted for before Parliament on an annual basis to say, okay, these are the activities that the Defence Force has actually embarked on, and this is so much that was planned and spent for, and this is how much that was executed during that particular activity. So even this activity, come the end of the financial year for reporting and so on and so forth, when everything is counted, it will be reported accordingly to say we went there and this is how much that was actually spent. So in as far as that is concerned, even if you don't get the exact figure now, that figure you will get at the end of the day. So I think that's it where we stand in terms of the questions. Over to you, MC.
Thank you, General. And just to put everyone in the picture clearly, I would like to bring Brigadier General R. King back onto the floor just to take us sequentially on what is expected on Monday's proceedings. General.
Through into this evening, there will be a parade practice in the streets of Mbombela. Then tomorrow morning, we hope to have a final dress rehearsal on time with the actual event on the Monday. As I said, the interfaith service in the afternoon, and then moving into Monday. Monday morning starts with the wreath laying ceremony at the World War Memorial in Barberton, and then from there across to Mbombela, where we will execute the parade itself. Most of the force levels are staying out towards the west of town, either at the stadium or at other areas west. The force levels will then move into town, down the main road, the Samora Machel Drive, into the center of town. The marching columns will precede the mechanized columns as briefed, and the march or the parade will take effect in from the west to the east, moving along Samora Machel Drive. The podium will be basically in front of where the Rob Ferreira Hospital is, on the corner of Samora Machel and Madiba, and the salute will be taken in that area. Force levels will then move further to the east and then disperse and move back to their holding areas from there. And then, in effect, the Armed Forces Day activities that can be witnessed by the public will then come to an end. I think that's sufficient at this stage, sir. Thank you. If you'll excuse me, General. Thank you.
Thank you, General King. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for your presence and participation today. You're now welcome to enjoy the refreshments. Actually, I'd just like to quickly pull back. I would like to invite the District Councillor, Councillor T. Mabuza, for the closing before we head off and have our refreshments. Councillor, please.
Thank you, program directors, especially the progressive one. Honorable Premier of the province, Me Refile Tsipane, in absentia, our Honorable Minister and Defense Military Veteran, Methandi Mudise, also in absentia, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Defense and Military Veteran, Ntate Tabang Makwetla, our Honorable Acting Executive Mayor of Mbombela, Councillor Maseko, receive my revolutionary greetings. The South African Defence Force, our General Mbambo, Kaspedi Sere Kichaba Baditi, Horkilibite, Kamaina Likadi, Likamaemo Alena. Dumelang ka moka go ya ka kgati. The Military Command Council, the Plenary Defense Staff Council, men and women in uniform, the National Provincial Department Administration, the Directors General, HODs of the department, all municipal managers and directors present, the organizing team, municipal officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, especially the representative from the media. I rise to render the vote of thanks, the words of gratitude and appreciation to our leaders from national government for bringing such a pedigree event of this nature. It is humbling to know that as Mpumalanga region, we are contented amongst the best for being afforded such an opportunity to host an event of this magnitude. As the province, we pride ourselves of this launch of the memorable historical event that led to this commemoration. Whilst history remains that we lost our dedicated team of more than 600 men of the South African National Labour Corps on the night of the 21st February 1917. This is regarded in history as one of the largest single loss of life for the non-combatants in the SANLEC during the First World War. As already mentioned by earlier speakers on this event, that this group of men were en route to France to serve as essential labor support to the ongoing World War when the SS Daro, another ship, a much larger mail ship, struck the troop ship in a thick fog 19 kilometers south of St. Catherine's Point on the Isle of Wight. According to reports, the Daro ship survived the collision, but the men sank on quickly, leaving 646 men dead. Of course, others died on the impact and others drowned later. We know now that the extent of this disaster has established its status as a national tragedy in South Africa, overwhelmed all racial divisions, which were prominent during that period. Record history indicates that as far back as 1917, March the 9th, the entire South Africa House of Assembly rose in silence and honor as a mark for respect for the fallen heroes in the Mendi ship. We are gathered here today until Monday to commemorate and celebrate the lives of these heroes. It is indeed befitting that such servants who have selflessly given themselves for the service of the state should be celebrated forever. We are indeed mourning with their families, descendants, and we believe that someday they will all find closure on this tragedy. Having listened to the earlier speakers narrating this story and what it symbolized to our country, I'm tempted, program directors, to appreciate all of you here today to remember our departed heroes. This celebration should be an inspiration to all of us that are elected to serve government, to work tirelessly to bring service to the masses of our people who are recently helpless in poverty, unemployment, and high illiteracy level. We are indebted to all of you that have come to join us in the commemoration of these lives. We are making a clarion call to all men and women to continue to commit to serve government and the people with our committed hearts and effort, to continue to spare no efforts in strengthening the gains of democracy, but also to cap down high level of crime, theft, and corruption in our circle as guided by the district local government manifesto. As we remember these heroes, we should be challenged, program director, to do what is right to our people and the community we are elected to serve. It is also a challenge that we should assist to keep their names not only on the memorial stones, but also in our hearts. We should continue to pray for their surviving families and that they should be able to find closure and peace. Program director, as I thank this gathering today, I am mindful of the fact that there are still few events lined up, building up to the main event on Monday, where we shall be addressed by His Excellency, the State President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa. We cannot wait for the address. We cannot wait for the parade by the various groups. We cannot wait for the parachute and many magical works to be on display this weekend. All these activities for sure will bring hope, love, harmony, peace, and unity to our youth and families and destitute families. Indeed, our tourism and hospitality industry will also receive a massive boost from the jaw of COVID-19 effects. We are slowly, through the District Development Model, DDM, accelerating the speedy delivery of services to the masses of our people. There is a silver lining beyond all the troubles we have been through as the country, ranging from this disaster, COVID death, and many disasters. Program director, all of us have a patriotic duty to promote and protect our hard-fought freedoms, democracy, and a culture of peace, human rights, and respect for the law. The African history, stories, legends, fairy tales, the music and dance of the historical epoch must reflect these values and norms. We have a responsibility to keep and engrave this rich history of our heroes in our museum and galleries.
Force Lieutenant General Wiseman Mbambo, to thank all the media houses for your participation today. I would like to notify you that the refreshments are over to the right-hand side in the pool area, and you're free to relax after that. So on your journeys, I would wish you a safe travel, and enjoy Armed Forces Day. Thank you.